What's up guys, Coach Az here. I've been quite active on the martial arts Reddit page recently, and there's certain questions that just crop up over and over again. And one of these questions goes something like this all the time. I want to learn X, Y, and Z martial art. There's no gym in my area, or I can't afford the gym that's in my area. Is it possible to learn, to get proficient, to get good at XYZ martial art by just training alone at home? And as any of you that use Reddit know, Reddit can be one of the most wholesome, nice places where people, really open up, give you a lot of information, try to help you. And it could also be one of the most brutal, nasty places you'll ever go. And when a question like this gets asked, and it gets asked in there quite regularly, the more experienced people, or the people that have been in there for a while, they get obviously a bit frustrated and they give them a blunt answer. No, obviously you can't. Moving on, next question. And in all honesty, they're not wrong, but I think we're doing people a disservice by not giving them a bit more context. And I appreciate you don't want to type this out every single time. So here's a video explaining why you can't get proficient, you can't get good at a martial art by simply training alone at home. But before we get all doom and gloom, let's start with what you can do at home, because there is a lot. The world of martial art information online is the biggest it's ever been, and it's only going to continue to grow. When I first started in martial arts training, the best you could get was a VHS of Bas Rutten showing you how to bar fight. Bang, bang! But with the evolution of the internet, we've now got blogs, we've got YouTube channels, we've got instructional courses online, instructional DVDs that you can order and have posted to your house, even Zoom training and webcam training with really recognized, very well established martial artists in any discipline you can imagine. It's now possible, for example, in BJJ to have a course that's 10 hours long from a current active world champion teaching you all the intricacies of the heel hook. And whilst you might pay a few $100 for this course, in comparison to what it would cost you to go and train with this person one-on-one or even in a class setting, it's a huge amount of money. It's a huge difference in the savings you'll get from training it online to training it in person. Beyond all the information that's attainable, equipment now is so easy to come by. Again, back in the day, there was very limited supplies. It was quite difficult to figure out where you'd have to go to get a good punch bag or to get floor mats. But now, jump on Amazon, you can get yourself some floor mats, you can get a hanging bag, a freestanding bag, a grappling dummy, anything you could imagine that you need to do a home gym setup is readily available and can be posted to your door. I film a lot of my content from home because I just know that I can be consistent with it, and I've got this little setup behind me, freestanding bag, mats, I've got weights, and it lets me just get in here and record content for you guys without needing to go to the gym, set up lights, do all that stuff, and I can pump stuff out towards you. So you could quite easily set up something like this in your home, in your garage, in a spare room, even outdoors, and you've got what you need in terms of a training environment. I mean, if you go to an MMA gym, go to a kickboxing gym, most of it is just space. That's really what they are, it's a floor space, maybe a hanging punch bag, maybe a freestanding bag, maybe some focus mitts, but the big thing that you get when you go there is you get room in order to be able to do it. So can you train solo? Hell yeah, you can. Can you even learn some stuff solo? You definitely can, right? There's loads of info out there. If you didn't even know what a roundhouse kick was before, you can find a video that will show you what it is, explain how to do it, and you will probably, to some extent, be able to replicate that on your bag at home, and you've learned something. But it's at this point that we run into the true issue with it, the big elephant in the room, as it were, and it comes down to the essence of what martial arts is. Martial arts is the art of combat. It's the art of fighting one, two, multiple opponents, but it's fighting someone else. In its simplest form, it's attack your opponent successfully and don't let them attack you. In striking, hit them, don't let them hit you. If you do that enough, you'll win the fight, you're the better fighter. In grappling, it's submit them, don't let them submit you. If you can do that, you win, you're the better fighter. Wrestling, pin them, don't get pinned. Now this is obviously an oversimplification. There's rule sets, there's other ways to win, etc. But the basic essence of it is that between you and your opponent, there's going to be someone who wins and someone who loses. It's a minimum of a two-person game. And I use the word game as in a sport, but even in a self-defense situation, it's two people. It's an attacker and the defender. A good analogy for this is tennis. Tennis is actually really similar to combat sports in a lot of ways. You'll have a coach, you'll have a training regime, you'll have techniques that you need to learn, you'll have training partners that you work with. But when it comes to the actual thing, the competition of tennis, it's you versus one other person. So can you get good at tennis on your own, just working against a wall or with a machine that shoots balls at you? Again, you could learn fundamentals. You could learn how to hit the ball in the different ways, how to serve, how to use the footwork to get around the court. But what's always going to be missing is the stimulus of someone else. It's the unpredictability of a training partner or an opponent. It's having someone there who, just by being there and doing things, is bringing up questions within your mind. We go back to the fighting, and let's take an example of you sparring with someone and they are just popping you with a jab. Boom, with the jab. Boom, with the jab. Every single time, almost at will, they are hitting you in the face with it. Now, you're fully aware of what the problem is. You're getting punched in the face with a jab, but you don't know from your experience what you need to change, what you need to adjust in order to do so. And this is where coach comes in. Coach walks over and he tells you, you got to get your hands up. You got to start moving your head off the center line. You need to throw more volume at him so that he can't just throw his jab whenever he chooses. In a 10-second window, in a quick conversation, you've just received this information and you can make these adjustments and hopefully improve on the following round. Now, if you were training completely alone, you wouldn't even know that you had that issue because no one's throwing the jab at you. If you were training with your mates in your garage, you'd probably figure out that you had that problem because they're hitting you with the jab, but you wouldn't figure out how to fix it. And if you did, it would take you twice as long, maybe 10 times as long. You would absorb unnecessary punishment, unnecessary hits to the heads in the process of working out for yourself that if you just brought your hands up and moved your head off the line, you get hit less with that jab. And these are the things that can't be replicated online or via books, via blogs, or any kind of content and information that you can get access to. It's that feedback mechanism. It's you put something out and you get something in return in the form of critique, criticism, reinforcement, all these things that a coach would give you or a training partner would give you within the gym. And it's having access to that experienced eye. It's not just another body in the room. It's someone who's been doing it for 10, 15 years and has been able to condense down the information into one sentence. So they can communicate things to you quickly. They can communicate things to you in a way that would take someone else years to explain. They'd have to rabble on and on about it for weeks in order to get the same essence that this guy can tell you just by telling you, lift up this hand and take your head off to this side. That's all you need to know at this stage in your development. That's really what you pay for when you go to a martial art gym. The big thing you'll see people say is they'll look at a commercial gym, as in a weightlifting gym, and let's say that the membership there is $20, £20. You can go there as often as you like, train as much as you like. Hey, they've even got a hanging punch bag there. It's basically a martial art gym. You go to your local kickboxing, MMA, BJJ school, suddenly the membership is £70, $70 a month. You can only go to 1 or 2 lessons a week, and maybe you can go to open mat time, but you're really limited with what you can do. And all you look at is these two prices and you go, well, I get more equipment in the commercial gym. I still get the hanging bag. Why am I gonna pay all this money and not even be able to train as much? Because what you're paying for is the knowledge. What you're paying for is that coach's eye, and more importantly, safety, stopping bad habits from being developed, learning new techniques, learning footwork, learning kicks and punches, being pushed by someone who's not gonna let you take breaks, go easy on yourself, or wither down in the later rounds. And this kind of goes off onto another topic, which is just the whole evolution of martial arts. What took that coach 10 years to learn could possibly only take you 8 years. To get to the same, let's say what coach was at their peak, might take you 8, might even take you 5 years. And then you have a potential beyond that because you learn it all younger, you learn it all whilst you're fresher in a quicker amount of time, and then you're able to develop your own on top of that. And this is why over the last 30, 40 years, martial arts has steadily and rapidly improved. Take Bruce Lee as an example, someone who a lot of people hold up as being, the greatest martial artist of all time. Let's just resurrect him today at his peak and throw him in against an amateur MMA fighter. had a few amateur fights, trains at a gym. Amateur MMA fighter probably kick his ass. The reason being is the sports have come so far. The teaching has come so far, and that's what you pay for when you go to one of these gyms. You pay for the years of experience to be condensed down and to be refined into something that can be taught to you in a much shorter period of time. So going back to the fundamental question, can you learn martial arts on your own? Yes, you can learn things on your own. Can you develop proficiency in martial arts on your own? The answer is no. The answer is that you need to go and be with the correct people, training partners who are all pursuing a similar goal at a similar level. Beginners in a beginner class, intermediates, intermediate, you get the idea. And you need to have that coach's eye. You need to have that experienced person in the room who's directing you, who's putting you on the right track and ensuring that you're doing the right things and that you're training in the right ways so that you can optimize what you're learning and improving. So rather than things taking you 20 years to learn, they take you far less time and you can learn far more. If you're really keen in learning martial arts, see it as an investment. Spend less money on stuff that you want to buy, technology, clothes, shoes, and invest that money in something that's going to provide you a life skill, that's going to help you improve in so many other ways, such as just your general physical health, your mental well-being, your personal discipline, and use it as an investment. If you really care about it, if you really want to learn it, then you'll find a way to make that work. But don't let this discourage you from training at home. If you truly can't afford it, if you truly don't have access to a gym, then train, but just understand the limitations of what's available to you. Hit that bag, watch those DVDs, watch these YouTube channels like mine, and copy the drills and get it done so that hopefully in the future, when you have more money or you move and you've got access to a gym, you get a head start in the sense that you've got a baseline of knowledge from what you've watched, and it can then be refined and worked on by a coach in the future. Guys, I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know what you'd like to see in the comments below. Hit that like button for me, hit subscribe if you haven't done already, and I will see you on the next one.